Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Your Pennsylvania Canal Hunter. I don't know how to start a series of videos trying to interest people in 193-year-old piles of man-made dirt and rock recorded by a midlife history nerd walking in the woods with a camera phone. Should I start with some history background? I don't think so, because I myself was no history fan as a younger guy. There is a lot of info online about the brief life of the Pennsylvania Canal, and I'll mention some of it eventually. But I don't expect to enchant a broad audience with history. Hell, when I was younger, I'd rather watch man-made piles of dirt and stone. So how do I get you hooked? To me, exploring and discovery is exciting, so I'm tempted to just roll into the first raw video when I unexpectedly stumbled into old canal remains in the woods. My yapping in the audio would tell you I wasn't actually looking for them, but I suppose good videos could start with something about the video maker. I personally didn't think so, but was open to that advice here.
Can you see it?
I can see it, but that's all right.
Okay. I am Kathy Coyne. I'm an elementary school teacher from Pittsburgh, PA. I currently teach 4th grade science and social studies in a small rural town in Armstrong County.
Rolling.
I think Dr. Durso should tell you a little more about himself and why he became the PA Canal Hunter.
Anytime you're ready.
Oh. I think Dr. Durso should tell you a little more about himself and why he became the Pennsylvania.
Rolling.
I think Dr. Durso should tell you a little more about himself and why he became the PA Canal Hunter.
Oh boy, okay. I am Neil Durso, a scientist of cell biology. I work for a huge company that has more than 100,000 employees all over the world, and we do a lot of stuff for health and life science research. I myself am an FAS, which is short for Field Applications Scientist, a technical way of saying I travel all over to teach other scientists how to apply our automated microscopes to their scientific research. But I'm not going to talk about any cell science in these videos. I will tell you that I spent a lot of my boyhood in the woods and on the banks of one of Earth's oldest rivers, formed even before today's 7 continents finished dividing, the Susquehanna River. It meanders by my small hometown of Susquehanna, founded in the mid-1800s in the mountains of northeastern Pennsylvania, as railroads expanded across our Keystone State towards the gateway to the west. How'd I get interested in biology? Trespassing on woodlands, poking riverside animals, and watching other people fish. Today, I revere the solitude I experience in forested river valleys, so I've come to call these sacred places nature's cathedral. Today, I live in the opposite corner of Pennsylvania, near Pittsburgh, in Oakmont, another small riverbank town with railroad tracks running through its center. It's 13 miles up the Allegheny River Valley, which is lined with small towns that developed the area's steel industry more than 100 years ago. These riverbank towns, like Oakmont, resemble Susquehanna, but you have to travel far from them to enter nature's cathedrals. And so I take aimless motorcycle rides eastward into the Allegheny Plateau of center-west Pennsylvania. You can't ride far in this hilly terrain before your route bumps into major creeks and rivers, along flat roads following these river valleys, just like railroads do, avoiding steep hills in the way. Not far up the Allegheny River from where I live, it's fed by a major tributary that can be traced to Johnstown, PA, the site of the worst human disaster in U.S. history prior to 9/11. It was at stops in separated small towns along this Conemaugh River that I first saw signage about the Pennsylvania Canal, a mystery to me, a call to adventure. And so my motorcycle rides to nature's wooded cathedrals, away from Pittsburgh metropolitan area, became less aimless. I'd heard of the canal from some signs along the Kiskiminetas, the Kiski River for short, in the isolated small towns of Leechburg and farther upstream Saltsburg. But I wasn't tracking down the canal route. I was just riding to follow roads as close to the river as they got. At the end of a tiny road into a tiny settlement called White Station, on the bank of the Conemaugh River, I parked and followed a well-kept trail downstream and stumbled upon a sign about Canal Lock Number 9. There were trenches in the earth, but no structures. I eventually saw some water in a stretch of the trench, traced it, and stumbled onto my first nearly 200-year-old stone culvert, draining water from somewhere beneath the canal trench's bank. What was this precision stonework doing in the middle of the woods? I learned later, the stone didn't come from Home Depot, nor was it ordered from a stone quarry and delivered by truck. Back then, there were no locomotives, no trucks. The stone was dug from the ground in a hillside nearby and precision shaped by human hands, holding a hammer and chisel. No cement trucks, no power tools, nothing motorized at all. Just humans and some beasts of burden, mules and horses. They carried the building materials and shoveled and plowed dirt and clay and cut trees with axes and hand saws and pulled out stumps. No bulldozers, no backhoes, no excavators, no graders. Metal was used, but no steel, no aluminum, just iron beat into hardware shapes by fire and hand hammers. How? There's of course no video footage or photographs, barely any drawings. We just have to mostly imagine. Boys like hunting for lost treasure. I needed a treasure map. Online searches finally turned up a 1992 study for the National Park Service, but it was buried many pages deep in web searches. It had descriptions and photos of canal remnants and locations marked on maps redrawn from sketches more than 100 years old, found buried in drawers and in shelves in the state capitol and elsewhere. Gold! The treasure hunt was on, and I was hooked. I can't wait to see you on the next
episode of Your Pennsylvania Canal Hunter.